Hello, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to step through your code line by line. So I have made a folder called Coding Challenge, and in it I have two files. So one is basically a blank HTML file, and the other is a JavaScript file where we have all of our JavaScript variables from the challenge. And so if you look at the HTML file, it's literally just like the heading, and then the body is just appending the script of script.js. Okay, so what happens is when I open index.html, you'll see a blank page. And what you want to do is to open your console, or actually open your sources, and you'll see that your JavaScript file is here. So right now I have the find module function and load module is also running. Since I'm not logging anything out, you don't see anything happening, but it is doing something. So if I just go back to here, if I just do console.log index, you'll see the index being logged out. Just refresh. Yep, here's one. So that's where it's coming from. So say you're writing your function and you're trying to figure out if you find or what's wrong with one of your functions. You can click on the line. So this will be called a line break. And what happens is I click refresh. You'll see this screen and it says it's paused in debugger. So your code is running and it hits find module and it stops specifically at this line. And to use the debugger, you can step over line by clicking this button. So first it will evaluate this, index equals 0. Okay, so that's where it was, and once I clicked on step over, it's now seeing its index less than the available modules.length, right? So if I do index, you'll see it's 0 right here. And then if I click on it again, since our index is 0 and our available modules.length is 2, it goes and executes the loop. So our first one, and if you want to see in the first, if you want to see the exact module that your code is seeing, you can type it in your console and you'll see, okay, well, it's not the life support module, so it should not run this line. It should just skip over it. And it does. So it loops through again. So now we're in the second loop and our index, oh, I guess it hasn't added the ++ yet. Let's see. Yeah. So now, so we've added 1 to the index and it's going to evaluate, okay, is it still less than the available modules.length? It is, so it goes into the loop again. And this time, available modules index. You can see it's life support. Okay, so now that, you know, these two should equal one another, then what should happen is it should go inside the conditional statement. And it does. And so this returns. And so when we were doing all the looping, we were in line 70. And we will say index is 1. And so we can step through again. Okay, so because I don't have a break line within load module itself, it's just will evaluate to the next line. Okay, and then console.log. Okay, so let's I want to show you, okay, so I'll remove the breakpoint from 63. And let's do this again. So because I don't have a line break within the function, it's not going to go into the function if I click step over. So it's just going to straight into line 71. But if I want to see what's happening within load module, I would just say step into the next function. And now you see that it's jumped to 58. Okay. And I can just do the same thing, do the next line. Or say if you have a really long function like 10 lines, but you only wanted to see if the first line was correct. So after you go through the first line and you want to get out, you can actually do this button, step out of current function. And then you can see console.log. All right. So I hope this was useful for you. And all you need is 2 files. You can put in your breakpoints wherever you want. So to get to the screen again is inspect, and then sources, and then you put in a line break. So it's a line break, okay? And there's also another keyword that you can use in JavaScript. It's called debugger. So if I refresh the page, I'll remove this line break. Okay, hold on. I'll just remove this line break. I've refreshed the page, and when it hits this line debugger, it's going to like, it's the same thing as adding like a breakpoint. And if you want to ignore breakpoints, you can just say deactivate, and then you can execute the rest of your code. Yeah, so it's very simple. Like, I know that there's CodePen and Repellit and all these other programs, but I noticed that you can't actually step through the code and see what you might be doing wrong. And this is a way to really get a granular detail for you to play around with some of the functions. So, and see exactly what the computer is seeing, right? So say if you don't know what the index value is or what's happening, you can always play around. Okay, my index is 1. What happens if I put this in and grab the available modules, right? Then you can say, okay, it's going to find life support, which is, you know, is it actually the one that I want to load? Or you can see, okay, what is my ship.modules before this line executes and then after the line executes. So you have much more freedom to play around and explore what's actually happening in your program.